Hi again. Same day, a few hours later. The son came home between his shifts. We had some lunch. Morris needed some love. I had a few texting conversations, a phone call or two, but I'm back. My name is Suzette. Today is November 1st, 2019. I'm also known as Primitive Stitcher here on FlossTube. Thank you for being here. Welcome to all those who have stopped by for the first time and to those who are returning. I'm glad you've stopped by for a visit. So let's get into it. Today we're going to have a little bit of a life update. We have some finishes, some works in progress, some gifts, and more haul than any person should have, but I'll try to keep that brief. Before we get started with that, I will give you just a tiny little life update. If you've watched my retreat video, you already got a little hint that I have switched positions within our district. I am at a different school and I am teaching in pre-K. I started that on Monday after retreat. It has been a blessing. There are currently 11 littles in the class, but that will go up to 15 in a few weeks. They are a joy and I'm loving every moment of it. I do miss my students from the previous school, but I know we'll see each other again around town and at school events. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. It's been a little bit crazy trying to make the adjustment, but we'll get there. Also, before I start in with my finishes, I wanted to talk a little bit about the sampler that was behind me in my previous video, which I think was in August, and it's this sampler here. I had a few questions about it, and I had promised that I would show it again in this video. I stitched this quite a few years ago, framed it myself, I'm sure you could tell, but it is from a Leisure Arts leaflet, number 2007, called Old Samplers Book 2. It looks like this, and this is the chart that I stitched. There's another photo of it back here, maybe a better photo. And I don't know if that one has a design name. No, it's just called Small Floral. It was a fun little stitch, I do remember that, and a very quick one, but there you go. Now on to my finishes. I do have a couple of finishes to share. Not as many as we would all like to have, lots of finishes, right? But my first one is called the Halloween Pin Keep. It is by Stacy Nash. It was one of my mania starts. And here is my finish. Sadly, I did not get it FFO'd for this Halloween, but we're hoping for next Halloween. It was a fun, quick little stitch. Then the second one is also one of my mania starts by Stacy Nash, called the Yellow Daisy Sewing Book. And it looks like this. And put something behind it here. This is my finish on that. I do want to make it into the little sewing book to keep my needles. My third finish was a gift from Rebecca, also known as Hedgerow hedgerow stitcher here on FlossTube, and it's by Country Cottage Needleworks, Bless Our Home. And I stitched this on 28 count even weave that I dyed myself. And I used the Call for colors, although my colors were not as vibrant as they are showing in this picture, but I just decided to go with it rather than take it out. And here's my finish on that. It's a sweet little piece. So I'm happy to have that one complete. Next we have my whips, and I'm not going to go in any particular order because honestly I just know that I've worked on them, but I couldn't tell you, except for the last one, what order I went in. What I'm trying to do is have a previous start on the go, as well as a small from Mania on the go, and some type of sampler on the go. So this is a previous Mania start, I believe, maybe from 2017. It is a Dimensions kit by Charles Wysocki called Pepper Cricket Farm. I am not going to stitch the outer border and the words. I am just stitching the scene on the inside. So I did make a little bit of progress on this. I think maybe the last time you saw it, I had a little bit of the white done. Maybe I had started on the roof. And I'd done a couple of blocks here, so I came over here and completed this. I started on the trees, and I completed this. And I am back stitching as I go because there's a lot of back stitching in this, and I don't want to wait till the end. So I also know that I put in the words here, and I still have some wording to go in here. Again, this is what it's gonna look like once I'm finished. In no hurry to really finish this one. It's an easy stitch. It's uneven weave, so it's relatively easy. Then I do know that I worked some on this, and please ignore all the needle minders. I don't know what happened. I think I was just collecting them on here one day. But this is Mercy Goodhart's sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler. Will look something like this when complete. I am stitching this on not the called for, but I can't remember what I'm stitching it on. It's a Zweigert base, but I am using the call for silks, which are needlepoint silks. And I do remember that the last time you saw it, and I'm not going to unroll it, but I had worked on the alphabet. I had a little bit of the border below. I had that complete. I did some fill in here, and I completed the house, and I believe I came up here, but mostly I think I worked on the house and got that complete. Still a long way to go on this one, but I do enjoy working on it. It is a long-term project, obviously. My next whip, which I just started working on today, is another Stacy Nash from my 2019 Mania, called the Eliza Ann Pin Keep, and it will look something like this. It is from the book Merry Halloween, and let me open this up so you can see the cover a bit better from this book. And I finished the angel this morning and did the border and these words. So I really just have, oh, and started on the bird over here. I really just have the top portion that says Eliza Ann and the date, a bird over on this side. So maybe I'll get this finished tonight. Leave that one out. Okay, that brings us to gifts or winnings. Gifts and winnings. So I always enjoy watching Judy from the Midnight Stitcher on FlossTube. I think her original name was her full name, Judy Hewlett, and she switched it to Midnight Stitcher. And she was offering the 25 count Easy Grid fabric as a giveaway, and I won, and it is a ginormous piece. Thank you, Judy. I've already thanked her, but I just want to say thank you again. And you might wonder what in the world I will be doing with this. Well, back in 2015, when I started my Heaven and Earth design that I'm still working on, my son chose a design that he wanted to stitch. And it is called Four Horsemen. It looks like this. He picked out some really large fabric, large count fabric. I think he picked out a 14 count Aida to do it on, and he was doing it over 4, and it was just too much. So I thought I would get, and he worked quite a bit on it. He maybe had like 3/4 of a page finished. So I thought what I would do is use this fabric from Judy, get him back to where he was, and hand it over to him and let him finish it. Let that be a long-term project for him. He has stitched one other small, and he did an awesome job, but hopefully he'll get back into it. My second gift was from Janice Kirby, one of my viewers, who was so kind and sent such a sweet note. She always leaves such wonderful comments on my videos, but she had some extra Prairie Schooler cards, and she sent those to me so that I could fill in the spots in my collection that I needed. So thank you, Diane. And then finally, from Natalie at the Vintage Cross Stitch Niche, sent me a lovely gift. Amazing. I feel so blessed. Sent a beautiful note and this beautiful Christmas needle minder. Very vintage. I love it. It reminds me, you know, growing up, either my brothers or myself would buy my mom a Christmas pin every year at the local drugstore. They had this revolving jewelry case that we were all just fascinated with. You push the button and the trays revolved around, and you got to stand there and look at all the beautiful things. And this reminds me of something that we would have purchased for her over the years. But that's not all. She sent me some lovely vintage lace to use on a project, as well as some of her beautifully dyed striped fabric. Look at this. That is going to be perfect for a sampler. I just have to choose which sampler to put on this, but I will, after the new year, choose something. I have a lot of selection to choose from, so more to come on that later. So thank you, Natalie. That's an amazing gift, and I can't wait to use those. Okay, I've tried to narrow down my purchases, and I'm not going to share with you everything because we would be here forever. But one thing, or I should say 3 things that I want to show you is I kind of did a thing, and I'm not sorry that I did a thing, but I was on eBay one day just looking around as you do, and I came across some antique samplers, and I put them in my watch list, and then, you know, they pop back up when it's getting close to time for the auction to end. And I happened to be home that day, and well, I just needed them in my life. So I believe well, I don't know which one was first, but I will show you this one. This one is dated 1915. ZG stitched it. And here we are. Isn't that gorgeous? I just fell in love with it, and it had to come home. Then from that same seller, there was another one that was ending on the same day, and I felt like I needed it. So it came home with me via eBay. And this one is by Jane Thompson with no date on it, but another little red sampler. And I took these to retreat, and Bindi Stitchy thought that these little creatures, this row, looked like aliens, little alien faces. But it's beautifully stitched. It's in very good shape. It has a couple of, a little hole here and just some discoloration there. But let me show you, let me see if I can, the back. I don't feel so bad now what my backs look like, because this is the back. She carried threads everywhere, and I still love it. So those two, and then on a different day, I fell in love with this one. And I'm hoping that you're not going to get some glare on it. This is stitched by Margaret Adamson when she was 13 in 1849. And this one is stitched in wools. And on the back it says, "This sampler was worked by my grandmother's mother's mother. in 1849. I was given her name, Margaret Adamson, which was her Christian name before her marriage to Thomas Woods Taylor, Master Mariner in Sail. And then it's signed by the younger Margaret Adamson. And it has, you know, the original. So these are my colors, the green and the red. Just love it. And this one is on a very loose weave, stitched in wool. Has a little bit of damage in the corner, but still, they were all reasonably priced. I felt like reasonably priced. And just to have something in my home that was stitched so many years ago by young girls is special to me. I will treasure them. So that's probably my favorite part of my haul. But I will share with you a couple of things. There's so much. But one in particular that I want to share with you is from someone that I don't know where I have been. I've never seen, to my knowledge, anyone who has stitched these designs, but they're so me. They're just, they spoke to me. And the designer is Tina Woltman, and her company's name is Early America 1815. She has a picture trail with all of her designs on it, and then you email her of what you want and PayPal her, and then she sends them to you. So I bought several because I couldn't decide. The first one is called Halloween Pin Keep, and my lighting, I'm so sorry, is horrible today, but these pictures are a little bit dark. There's this one. Then Vintage Jack, I totally fell in love with this one. You can see that one a little bit better. Then the 1776 Pin Keep, and these will be quick stitches. I adored this one, Red, White, and Blue Birds. And A Merry Old Christmas. Again, this, if you go to www.picturetrail.com/Early America 1815. And she was easy to work with, quick to ship, so I can't wait. Maybe I will do the Christmas one first, since we're getting to that holiday soon. What else? I have a stack of fabric. I have to show you. This one is from Kitten Stitcher. So beautiful. It's called Shabby. And it's in 40 count. But of course, it spoke to me because it just has lots of grungy goodness to it. Not sure what I will stitch on there, but I doubt that I will have trouble finding anything. And then just a variety of other fabrics that I purchased. And then I participated in Picture This Plus sale. Was it back in July? And that came, I got 36 and 40 counts in Mellow, Fog, and then one of my favorites, I get this one in 40 count, or no, this one in 36 count as well, Ale. Also inspired by Natalie at the Vintage Cross Stitch Niche was this purchase, which I had seen on Teresa's website before, but you know, you just, until you see someone stitching it, it's a completely different feel. Hannah Carter, 1838, by Shakespeare's Peddler. And I went ahead and purchased the 36 count cream brulee to stitch that on, along with the silks that it calls for. And I mean, Natalie stitched this up in no time at all, so I'm hoping it will go as quickly for me. I purchased, oh my goodness, I don't even know, some Scarlet House. I can't, what did I do with the other one? I fell in love with this, the Patriotic Shaker box set. Alphabets 1850. Did I show this one already? I can't remember. And that's by Reflex. Queenstown Sampler. I think I saw these when I watched Sassy Jack's video, which is dangerous to do. Elizabeth Mears, 1833. Look at that giant house. That is going to be so much fun to stitch. I love stitching houses. Look at all those windows. And then M.A. Beats, 1833. I liked that one. Again, Queenstown Sampler. Another designer that I'm not sure that I have ever stitched anything by is Delaney Wood's Treasures. And I fell in love with this one called All Hallows Eve. And Moonlight Magic. Both look like they would be quick stitches. And Samplers Not Forgotten, BG 1874. I can't remember who's stitching this, but oh my goodness. Again, beautiful. I visited oh please. McKenna's website, 1884 Stitchery, and I visited her because I wanted to purchase the reproduction that she did by the collaboration Mary Hogg 1830, Works by ABC, and 1884 Stitchery collaboration. And again, that picture is not going to do it justice, but it's beautiful. She stitched this when she was 13 years old. I believe I also picked this one up from her. Grandmother's Favorite Letters by Rami. And I picked up a couple of things. This one is the Stitcher's Resolution, and it has been partially started. And I believe I'm gonna someday finish it. I'm sorry, my lighting is horrible. The sun has gone down, and the lighting in this room is horrible to begin with. Then I also purchased a piece of fabric that has some stitching on it. This is 40 count Lakeside vintage exemplar, and it has a tiny bit of stitching, but it has a nice piece that I thought I could make use of. So thank you, McKenna. She was also a pleasure to do business with. Quick shipping, easy peasy. I picked this up off of eBay. I don't know that I've ever seen this, but I saw it and I needed it. It's book number 130 by the Prairie Schooler. And I love, it's The Witch's Inn, plan ahead, keep it simple, and measure twice, cut once. So I really super like this one and The Witch's Inn. And that was not very much, especially for the original cardstock. This next purchase was totally Lisa at Kindred Stitcher's fault. I had bought the Pin Keep kit, was not gonna buy the big sampler, but every time she shows hers, I fell in love all over and over. So I ended up with the English Garden by Samplers Not Forgotten and all the threads. Someday. I picked this up from, this was the other one that I picked up from Kitten Stitcher on her Scarlet Letter. It's beautiful. It's called the Janet Reese 1869 sampler. And another red sampler, can't live without it. I love all of this down here. And what else did I get from Kitten Stitcher? Oh, I'm not going to pull everything out, but another red sampler. Whoops. A primitive hair that I didn't have. And Kathy Barrett piece that I didn't have and hadn't seen somehow. As well as another piece of fabric. They always smell so good. And then I fell into the trap. It's just beautiful, and someday I will stitch it, but I wanted to get it before it went out of print again. It is the Scenic Farm. I don't know that I will stitch it on the Aida. I might, or that's even weave. I might, but I would probably, is it full coverage? It is full coverage. Okay. And what is this? Oh, this is also Michelle Rudy's fault. From Buttermilk Basin, Michelle a few videos ago shared her finish of this. It is the American Crow on a spool, and I had to have it. And then I also found 3 little snowman pillows that I thought was adorable. And that's also in the kit. And that's from Buttermilk Basin. Okay, another designer that, where have I been? Hewitt Hill Samplers. Mabel Shard. A red sampler. I went ahead and purchased the Legacy for this one, as well as Schoolhouse Red. And that was a sweet note from her. She's on Etsy, Hewitt Hill Samplers. So we have that. Okay, we are almost finished. And we all know the purple envelope is from Jen at Jen's Stitching Niche. And I just picked up, I needed the part 5 of the Ginny Beans parlor, for the parlor. Pick that up, along with a variety of fabrics, because one can never have too many fabrics. And what else did I pick up? Oh, this one. Okay. Did I get this from a primitive needle that I didn't have? Eliza's sampler. That looks like that will be a very quick stitch. And then I was not going to purchase these. I passed them by, and when Jen was showing them on her video, or they're on the wall, I was like, no, I have to have these. Blackbird Designs. And the Casting a Spell. I need to go buy this box before Hobby Lobby discontinues it. I thought I could live without this, but I can't. On to, oh, excuse me. A couple of other things that I purchased from That's So Kelly Co. Kelly. I purchased a Bitsy Bob, and what I house in mine, I take this in my car, and I'm working on my Annie B's folk art Christmas ornaments. I'm in Crazy Annie's Ornament Club, and so all of this just fits perfectly in here. I have it in my car for when I have a meeting that you know I'm early to, and I'm waiting for people to arrive. It just fits nicely in here. I have my glasses, my scissors, and all my goodness, and I just keep it in my car, and it's all nice and tucked away. And I think that I will continue throughout the year to have a Christmas ornament in my car so that I can just work on it when I have those few minutes waiting. And last but not least, I spotted this from Made by Mama Joan. It's absolutely beautiful. And I know I can make project bags. I can make project bags. But I like to have some from my friends. And so I picked this one up from Mama Joan. It is with the Blackbird Designs fabric, and it's just beautiful. And I can keep a Blackbird project in this one, and they're so well made. They're just beautiful. So thank you, Mama Joan. Okay, friends, that wraps it up for all that well, okay, that's not all. That was just a portion. Believe it or not, I scaled it down and didn't show you some of what I had purchased, but I think I'm going to hold off on, I say that, and Kitten Stitcher is offering free shipping this weekend, so I've already got some stuff in my cart. But I have more than I can ever stitch. I just need to stitch faster. It's funny because I had a project set up on my Lowry stand, but it was kind of moved over to the side of my chair. And then in front of me, I had my Needle Needs Millennium necessaire, whatever it's called, stand, and I was working on a project on that, and my son walks through and he's like, what are you, double handing it now? Like, if only, if I could stitch on 2 projects at the same time, wouldn't that be awesome? But what are my plans? My plans for this next month? I'm going to focus on trying to get my Christmas ornaments stitched. As well as, like I mentioned, I want to have a sampler, working on a mania piece, and working on a Christmas ornament until I have those finished. And then I will throw something else in the mix, but I always want to have at least a sampler and a mania piece going. I do want to try to, I'm not going to do a whip down as far as like totally getting rid of anything. There might be one piece that I will just push to the back, but I like everything that I started and I do want to finish them, but I want to focus on finishing. That being said, I have a new start planned for later today. And then I am doing a New Year, New Start. And I want to start Harriet Salt on Christmas. And I have all my new Brenda Gervais pieces that I'd like to start. But I know that a lot of the things that I bought were for Christmas, and that can wait until after the new year. But over the next 2 months, I want to try to get as many things finished as possible. We'll see. I don't know. A sampler, a Christmas piece, and a mania. That's my plan. It is probably going to change. Maybe even by tonight. I may change my mind. Anyway, thank you all for joining me today. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. I'm really, I know I say this every time, I'm really going to try to be a little bit more regular in my videos once I get a little more settled into this new position. I'm hoping, to do maybe at the very least once a month, but what I would really like to do is every other week, and that way I don't have so much to show in one go. I can't do it every week. Time just doesn't allow for that, not with everything I have going on, but maybe every 2 weeks would work out. So until next time, my friends, thank you for watching. I hope that you are having lots of stitchy time wherever you are, and until next time, I wish you well. Bye for now.